Hey guys, welcome to Alex and Andy live back with you from Shanghai, China, which you're looking at right now, Lujiazui, the financial district. With that shot, thanks to our friends at Kankan Xinwen. Looks like an awesome night. We're sitting on 23 degrees, which is about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful weather today, but still stuck inside. I'll just quickly run through what we're going to check out on today's show. Obviously, the latest numbers. There you go, 77 and 746. But the key there is 0 community infections. That is the third day in a row, which technically means we have entered basic zero transmission, I guess you could say. And obviously all of the Shanghai districts, 16 of them, have achieved 0 community transmission as the city gears up for reopening. Now, I'm not too sure about all these different sub-variants, but anyway, there have been reports that China's first imported case of Omicron subvariant BA.2.12.1, whatever that means, has been found in Guangdong province. We have a video today regarding a 7-year-old patient in Shanghai who was in serious condition with COVID-19, who has been discharged from hospital, which is awesome news. In other news, love him or hate him, Elon Musk has suggested on Monday that he may seek a lower price for Twitter, saying he's found out there's at least 4 times more bots or fake accounts than the company has said. So that will be interesting to see as the days go by. We'll also go on a shopping spree, shopping glee, with one of our colleagues heads into a supermarket. And then today, it's my show and tell time with Edgar Snow's Red Star over China. But first things first, my co-host Alex, how's your day been? Just another day?
Just another day, still allowed to go downstairs, so I was able to pick up some packages, got a watermelon and some other stuff like that. But beyond that, just another regular day. Nothing really special happened today. How's it over there?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Nothing very special. I did a cleanup actually because I ordered some veggies and fruit online today. For the first time in 6 weeks, I was able to do a solo order, which is awesome. So what I had to do was clear out some of the stuff the government had given me. So I had a huge bag of rice, some different meat, different vegetables, which I'm not going to use. There's some, I don't know if I've talked about it before, but there's a flat in my building where there are 12 young guys from out of town who have been cramped in together. So they were often low on supply, so they were happy to take it on.
Yeah, 12 is a lot. Actually, I know that there is one apartment in our building with 10 people in it, but I don't know anything about them. I see them posting when they put their antigen tests into our building's group.
10 people.
Yeah, and so that's how. But yeah, we in my building have been pretty good about, obviously contactless, but kind of sharing stuff if we've ordered too much or things like that. So that's cool. That's good.
Yeah, for me, the contactless thing is like I said another time, I'm quite introverted, so it's actually a good excuse. So I had a pile of stuff to give those guys before. I have one of their WeChats, and he was like, "Oh, if you don't need it, I can send you some money." It's like, I don't need money. And then before he was like, "Oh, should we meet downstairs and you can give them to me?" I was like, "Actually, we better be contactless. So I'll leave it at my door. You just come and grab it." As the way to get out of the awkward side. But anyway, Michael says he's new. We got a comment here from YouTube. Michael GEC says, "Hey, my friend's pretty new to the channel. Good luck. US guy living in Zhuhai." I think he means Zhuhai.
Zhuhai, probably. Yeah, Zhuhai in Guangdong province, which is right down across from Macau down there. So yeah, cool. Hi, Michael.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Michael. Good to have you on. Obviously, all the lovely welcomes from our regular viewers. Kevin James Ing says, "A clear night, nice skies." Someone else says, "Good luck, Shanghai. Wash hands, wash hands." Okay, Velozzi is in the house. Said, "The ladies and gentle persons. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show." First things first, I think what we better do is check in with our colleague Yang Jian. We just have one question for him today, actually, because a lot of people have been talking about, this awesome good news from Shanghai, which says that everything's getting back to normal. But actually, in reality, not many people are allowed out onto the streets. So I think people want answers. Hopefully, Yang Jian can give them to us. Yang Jian, can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Awesome. So we saw today that 16 or all of Shanghai's districts have achieved COVID-0, but a lot of people haven't seen many changes to their daily life. So I really just want to know, why are so many people still required to stay at home, basically?
Mm. Uh, yeah, like the city's vice mayor said, the zero community transmission is the precondition of the gradual open up. So today marks the official beginning of the city's restoration to normal life and urban operation. And according to the schedule, from now through Saturday, and the precautionary areas will open with limited movement. Like you said, many residents are now allowed to reopen the supermarket. And uh, many citizens have actually received an exit pass from the neighborhood committee today, and allowing them to leave the neighborhoods and go to nearby supermarkets. But some others, especially people in downtown, uh, might still be required to stay at home or within their neighborhood compounds. Nearly 80% of the citizens are within the precautionary areas, but maybe only a small part of them have been allowed to go out so far. And the reason is the city government once announced the district governments have the right to upgrade the management for precautionary areas to the same as controlled areas, and many downtown districts have stepped up the management. And for instance, the Pengpu community in Jing'an district asked the residents to stay at home until at least Friday. And in Yangpu district, uh, residents, because the district reported a third of the city's total new infections in the past 2 days. So all residents must remain at home for daily PCR testing, and which has been held for 5 consecutive days. And so basically, outskirts districts are giving more freedom to their citizens since they have achieved zero community transmission uh, for a longer time, and some areas have almost returned to the normal life, like in Fengxian district. And the city's top official is just asking for a wider opening today at these outlying districts as the pressure test for downtown areas. So it explains why it looks like two totally different worlds, maybe in the city's outskirts and the downtown. Andy.
Got it. Got it. So I just kind of wanted to ask a little bit more about the same topic. So you said that today marks the first day, obviously the community level zero increase in infections. Today is the third day, so that begins now. So sort of what can we expect to see in the next few days in terms of places opening up, passes and stuff like that?
Yes, because according to my researches, most downtown district governments remain quite cautious about the open up for fear of any resurgence. Since today, like you said, is only the third day of the citywide zero community transmission, they need to wait and see for several additional days. But currently, in many downtown places, residents in the communities with the title of pandemic-free communities are more likely to go out than those in the precautionary areas. Uh, like in a Changning pandemic-free community, one resident at each household can go out 3 hours each time. And however, they must register the time both when they go out and return home at the entrance. And in Quyang subdistrict of Hongkou, residents of pandemic-free communities are allowed to a nearby supermarket twice a week. And downtown Shihui has opened 8 supermarkets and over 100 convenience stores, mainly for the pandemic-free community residents. But everything must be disinfected before being taken back to the community. And precautionary communities must apply to the Civil Affairs Bureau for this title. And there are fewer number of them, and with higher standard. And like apart from they must have no infection for 2 weeks, they also must have very mature management on the residents, online deliveries, disinfection, garbage treatment, and volunteer services. So with more precautionary communities to become pandemic-free communities, and with longer days of zero community transmission, and also with the pressure test at these outskirt regions, there will surely be more residents allowed to go out in the next few days. And greater changes are expected on Sunday when the city will enter the next phase of open up, and all controlled and locked down areas will become precautionary, and the buses and the subways will also be gradually restored by then. Alex.
Excellent news. Thank you so much, Yang Jian. We look forward to the 22nd when some more metro and bus services come back into action, like you said. Hey, we'll catch up with you again tomorrow. Thank you so much.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Here's that story on shine.cn now about zero community transmission in all districts. As Yang Jian said, we still need to wait a little while to make sure that this trend continues, obviously, and we don't start up another outbreak again, I guess, Alex.
Yeah, I think that's the idea behind it. And it seems like they will be very cautious and slow in terms of the lurch back to normalcy. It seems like it's still going to be really, really restrictive in terms of, you can go to just a small number of places in nearby supermarkets and convenience stores and things like that. They'll be restrict how many people can go out from each household on which time, on which day. So it's still going to be extremely restrictive. It's not going to be going back to normal life where we can just live in the city normally. So it's still going to be a while, and the steps are going to be incremental in terms of getting back to where we want to be.
Right, we're not just going to jump out the door all at once, that's for sure. We have a few comments here. Somebody said proceeding with caution sounds like a wise strategy. I think that's definitely how everyone wants to head forward with this. Also, we have a question on the Shanghai Daily WeChat stream, but from Becky, who asked, how is distribution of government boxes determined? Much disparity from building to building, district to district. Actually, we've talked about this on the show before, and as is the answer with so many of these questions, it all comes down to your sub-district, your jiedao, and also your juwehui, your community, your neighborhood community. They all have different budgets, different suppliers, everything. So you will see some disparity. I did see last night that a lot of people were upset, and we saw some more banging of pots yesterday. A few friends sent me some videos and said people were peed off because a xiaoqu next to them had better supplies. There's still a lot of people peed off, but I think it is worth remembering that it does vary from place to place, as we've talked about, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. I know that we had some people in our community that were a little bit upset because the community right over there, across the street from us, which is in our same jiedao, was receiving more than we did. But then we got a few packages over the last few days, and they have now that I guess that we're allowed to go downstairs. It's just small things, It's been a constant wave of people being upset and calming down and getting upset and calming down and getting upset and calming down. And I think that that's a product of a lot of the stuff that we talked about over the last few days, with just all the different stresses on people's minds. It's funny if you introduce simultaneously a whole big set of problems and then you fix one of them, well, the people are going to be happy that you fixed the one, but then pretty soon they're going to be upset because of the other ones. It's kind of like, oh, I'm relieved about this thing being better, but what about this? And then it's kind of that's as I've observed my community, my own household, and myself, that's kind of how this has gone for me. And I think that's the case for a lot of folks.
Yeah, for sure. While everyone's locked down, tension high, any little problem can become a really huge problem. Yeah. So it's true with the ups and downs. And I asked that friend yesterday where they were getting a bit peed off about their supplies, whether they got anything today. And lo and behold, they received deliveries today. So it goes up and down, and people are, as I said, people are frustrated. But anyway, here's really quick. Let's check out the graphs. That is today's graph, if it means anything to you. And there is the number of cases found outside quarantine or lockdown areas. 0 for the third day in a row again. Good news.
Right. That's what we are looking to have, is that number to be 0. What's been said is that if we hit 3 days in a row of this particular number being at 0, which today was the third day, I suppose these are the numbers from yesterday, was the third day. So today would be the first day where we are actually moving forward towards gradual opening up. Now, exactly what that opening up means and looks like, given the evidence that we've gotten, I've gotten a lot of anecdotal evidence from friends. my community, I think, is still in the orange, and so we actually aren't allowed to go outside onto the streets yet. But I've got several friends, and I know some people, and I'm sure you do as well, Andy, who are in the green, because a lot of people are, and they've been issued passes to go in and out of the compound, but it's been extremely restrictive in terms of who and when and where and what time and for how long and this and that. And so while encouraged, as with a lot of things that have happened, I've been both encouraged and discouraged. I'm encouraged that we are finally able to go outside, obviously, but discouraged in that it seems like it's going to be a really restrictive and slow march back. So that's to take the good with the bad, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's important to not get your hopes up too high about going out. But yeah, like you said, I am in a green area that has been a green area for a long time. And I did, like you said, I did have some friends today who are also in green areas and received passes with little ticks on the days they're allowed to go out for 3 hours. And still waiting for that to happen in our compound. I have asked our Juwei, she just says, things are still up in the air. We need to wait a little bit. So I think as is, like we just said with the last question, a lot of the answers to many of your questions will be, it's up to your Juwei. So basically, hardly anyone in Shanghai now, I saw before on the Shanghai Daily website, I'll try and bring that up. I can't remember which story it was under. That basically, no, not that one. That basically hardly anyone in the city is remaining inside, there we go, lockdown areas. Only 860,000. That might sound like a high number, but in Shanghai, with the population of 25.6, that is a very small number still in locked down areas. But as many people are arguing, it feels like we're all still in lockdown areas, so it doesn't mean much. And those who are allowed to go out are few and far between, I think. So yeah, we'll wait and see how it goes over the next few days. I think people are scared and wanting to dip their little toes in. I'm talking about Juwei here instead of jumping in the deep end. So you can kind of understand that, but at the same time, it would be good to see some consistency across the board.
Yeah, well, I think it's a matter of, people are, I guess, are afraid, are held responsible for what might happen in their particular district or in their particular area, and so people a lot of times will tend to be overly cautious because they don't want to shoulder the blame if something happens in their particular area, and I think that is driving a lot of what's going on.
Yeah, that is totally understandable. Anyway, speaking of people who have been lucky enough to get passes to head out, actually, one of our colleagues, Sky, was able to head to the supermarket today. He's actually living in the Shanghai Daily office, but he wasn't there for the first month. He switched. We had a kind of change in crew after a month, so he's been there for a few days, a little while now. Here's the video he took in the supermarket today, and we actually have him online. Sky, can you hear us? Oh, wait a minute. Sky, if you can come back in. I think I might have pressed the wrong button.
Sorry about
here we go.
Yeah, it looks, he's at the care of 4 here. Back.
Hello, Andy.
Oh, there we go. Sky, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Awesome, we're doing well. Hey, you headed to the supermarket.
No, I think we met last time.
It's been a long time. But I did hear it won't be long. It won't be long yet. Hey, now, Sky, you headed to the supermarket today for the first time in about 6 weeks. I wanted to know what was the process you had to go through, and more importantly, what did you buy there?
Yes, I actually went to a Carrefour in Bushroe district on Yishan Road. I think it's in this Guangxi large shopping mall, and it's not difficult to get in. Actually, the security guard will ask for a green health code, and after that, you need to scan the venue code, and then you get into the supermarket.
Wow.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day when we were interviewing somebody just about going to the supermarket, but I guess times are changing, right? Unique times. So what was the atmosphere like in there, and sort of were people excited? What was sort of the general feeling that everyone had in there?
Yes, it's actually it's the first time I've been to the supermarket, I think, over the past 2 months. And as far as the commodity, the goods, speaking of the goods, it's quite full and rich, and there's nothing is out of stock. You can see the footage I took during my shopping. Everything is there's enough stocks there. Vegetables, meat, snacks, and everything is good, sounding good. And people actually there aren't many people, I must say, because I think people who went out there must have like a pass, and not everyone in the compound has the pass. So when I was at the cashier, I actually heard many customers say that please separate my goods, like put these in a bag and put those in another, because those are for my neighbors. So actually most of them are doing a very big quantity of shopping, because they're not only shopping for themselves, but also shopping for their neighbors who can't get the pass.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, good on them. Hey, but Sky, you've been in the office, right, for the past few weeks?
Yes. Yeah. No, actually, more than a week. I think I joined the Shanghai Daily office group on I think May the 6th. So yeah, more than 10 days, I think.
Well, so I imagine that the last crew that were there for a month were pretty tired. What is the atmosphere there like now with all the different, a different rotation of crew?
I think it's not a big deal for me. We don't have any food problem, and we have shower, and I sleep in my office, so everything is fine for me.
All right.
Awesome, but I guess you're still looking forward to getting out and being able to go home though.
Everyone here is still looking for getting out. Actually, we are all looking for the day when the daily commute, the daily transportation like metro and buses can recover. So every one of us can come to the office to work.
Yeah, definitely. I never thought that I'd be waiting. I would be waiting to ride the metro again, or the bus. I'm really looking forward to it more than I ever thought I would. But alrighty.
Yeah, actually, yes, because this is actually the second supermarket I went today. The first Carrefour I went didn't open. So actually, it's still depending on which sub-district it is, because the first Carrefour was also in Bushroe district, but was in I think Fenglin sub-district. And according to a person who was in charge of that supermarket, he said it's really up to the sub-district to determine whether a store can open or not, because that will be based. The decision will be made based on the overall COVID situation around the compounds around the neighborhood. If there are still too many compounds under lockdown, the store nearby won't be open until it's clear.
So still a lot of factors in play here as we move towards the city opening up fully again. Sky, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you in the office again sometime very soon.
Thanks.
Sure. Stay healthy.
All right, we'll do.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's so funny. Yeah, like you said, it's so weird that we're interviewing somebody about what it's like to go to the supermarket.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. It's like, we've talked about this extensively over the last few weeks. It's just like the small things, just the ability to visit different places and enjoy different experiences that are become routine. Obviously, you and I both lived in the city for a long time, right. And many people, most people longer than we have that are here. And it's just the little things, the places that you sort of don't really go or that you don't necessarily appreciate going when you're there. Now that you can't go there, it's like something that you really want to do. A place like a supermarket or a subway station or your office or a park or, just the noodle shop downstairs, things like that. And so, right. Obviously the opening up so far is been limited and it'll continue to be slow, but hopefully sometime this summer or sooner rather than later, or I don't want to put a date or time frame on it, but we can get back to where we can actually move around the city and enjoy the things that we enjoy about the city under normal circumstances.
I was going to say not holding my breath, but looking forward to it for sure. So let's head along to, I reckon, to the Shine website really quickly. Alex, I wanted to chat with you about this. I'm not sure what you think of Elon Musk, but this is quite interesting news, don't you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Twitter user. I know that you are. I've never been that big of a social media guy. And Twitter is one that I find to be a little bit
toxic.
I don't know. It can be, yeah. And I don't want to spend my time fighting with people on Twitter, so I just kind of stay away from it. However, Elon Musk is a guy I have mixed opinions about. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure what to expect. It was sort of a sudden thing that he planned to buy Twitter, and then I sort of questioned his motives for that. And then, they had some sort of poison pill thing, but he defeated it. I don't really know. It's kind of weird, and I hope that I do think that Twitter bots are bad, and I think that if it depends on what he does, right? If he seeks to get rid of that and sort of make it more organic, I think that's a positive move. If he's going to, Reddit is also really bad. I agree. Yeah, I know. But and the other thing is that I think that if he's going to focus on putting people back on Twitter who have been banned, I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea. I know people like to whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I just think, I don't know. I know that a lot of people are pinning a lot of hope on Elon to kind of rescue Twitter because it's become sort of a echo chamber in many ways. A lot of people have been banned. A lot of people think that it's because of ideology, but I'm not sure. But I just find him, even though he's a billionaire and I should be wary of him, I find him quite refreshing. Like, I love this part. Musk responded to Agrawal's defense of the company's methodology with a poop emoji. I think it's something refreshing. I don't know. I know a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people do like him, but yeah, I don't know. Here's my Twitter, you guys. If you want to follow, AndyBXXX, I would love to see you along there. But I just found this, which I was meant to mention last night, Alex. This is awesome. This is a little questionnaire about COVID. They say, 如果你得了新冠，愿意居家隔离还是集中隔离? If you find out you got COVID, would you willing to stay at home in quarantine or head into the central quarantine? And they selected, I would rather stay at home. And then the second question is, if your neighbor caught COVID, would you rather they quarantined at home or went to central quarantine? And they chose central quarantine. I just think it's funny. It's like a real sign of the human condition. I know this is just a joke, but I do reckon a lot of people would choose this. What do you reckon, Alex?
Oh my God. Okay. My head hurts reading that. Yeah, that's that is what we would call wily or crooked logic right there.
There we go. This is how I headed it. The problem with people, but I do find it hilarious. But anyway, let's get back on track. What's coming up next? Oh yeah, so someone says Reddit is way more toxic than Twitter. Alex, I noticed yesterday when you shared your video, it was from Reddit. Now, I'm not a Reddit user. Should I be?
I do. Well, I mean, I do use Reddit. I find that Reddit is a bit more interesting for me than Twitter is. Twitter is more newsy, whereas Reddit is more like
memes
stuff. And memes, but also just sort of interesting stuff. Good accomplishments that people are doing. It has sort of bled into TikTok a little bit because there are some short videos, but it's also conversations and things. My thing about Reddit is, Reddit also gets really, really toxic. It's got the bad elements of Twitter for sure. Like there are certain they call them subreddits, which are like smaller communities on the site that are getting really difficult. So I understand. So it's a place for people to express their frustration. But I think in as much as Twitter is like this, Reddit is also like this, in that the negativity and the complaining and shouting is much louder than any sort of positive talks. You know how it is on Twitter. Reddit also has that.
Yeah. Twitter's toxic. Hey, the only thing I know about Reddit, though, is actually the funny side of it, because there's a few YouTube channels I follow which basically all they do is troll through really funny subreddits. I think you called it. They're called like r/whoosh, r/things that never happened, and all that. They're really funny. And that's my only experience with Reddit, is actually watching those YouTube videos where people just bring up these really funny subreddits.
And there are also wholesome subreddits like made me smile, or wholesome, where it's like something that instead of bad thing happening, like the slapstick humor or the dark jokes, it's actually like this is really cool. Somebody helped somebody else out, or it looked like it was going to go really bad, and then at the very end it went great. Stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of subs dealing with China are extremely toxic. That's especially right now. I mean, I've tried to stay away from them. They're getting really bad.
Yeah, a lot of the time people will send me stuff from r/Shanghai, and I'm just like, I'm not going to look at it. I've got enough negativity.
Our Shanghai used to be pretty cool, and right now it's
really,
it's not. I'm not loving.
I can imagine it's a no-go right now for sure. I can imagine. Hey, I'm going to bring up the next video before we get too much off topic, which is, like I mentioned before, about a 7-year-old who was in quite a serious condition with COVID here in Shanghai. And this is their story of their release. So we'll check that out and then come right back.
平时的话，他醒了之后会跟他妈妈打电话的。
有基础疾病的孩子啊，他往往病情比较复杂，再加上感染了新冠肺炎以后，这个就使得病情更加复杂。因此呢，这个时候往往单一个科室，它的这个治疗方案就显得不是那么完整。
在这次疫情的最关键的时刻，我们20病区又成为收治上海市有基础疾病的新冠患儿的定点的治疗单位。无论是在多学科团队救治危重的病人，还是对儿童的心理关爱和家长的人文照顾，我们的前线的党支部和全体党员都很好的诠释了生命至上、人民至上的理念。
Well, a bit of an abrupt ending there. Hey, awesome to see. I think it's important with videos like this to keep in mind those people who say, oh, Omicron's just like a flu and it's not a problem and it doesn't affect young people, only old people who aren't vaccinated. It can affect, obviously, in rare situations like this, it can affect people with underlying conditions who are way outside of the vulnerable groups. So, yeah, scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, obviously, I think it's it's also true that the flu could do that as well. I'm not saying that Omicron is the same as the flu, but I mean the flu can do that too. So it's not just that, just because I think we have to look at it from both sides. We that it can still be dangerous, but then also that other diseases can cause problems for vulnerable people as well. So it doesn't mean that Omicron is the end of the world, but it also doesn't mean that it's the same thing that you want to get. So obviously the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and that is just something I'm staying away from. Honestly, you would have to read so many medical reports and everything to keep up with all the different sides. So I tell you what, I'm just not going to. But yeah, it's good to see stories like that where things have worked out. And I'm sure there's many other situations, unfortunately, where things haven't worked out.
Yeah, you don't want to see anybody get sick, especially a kid. You know what I mean? And so that happened. It's good to see that kid is out of intensive care and is doing better.
Yeah, awesome to see. Hopefully we'll see some more positive stories like this, or less, to be honest, if it becomes not an issue. It'd be also good to not see more stories like this. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to move on to show and tell. I made a little banner for it. Show and tell. Woo! So yesterday, Alex, mine's not as interesting as yours, but I thought I wanted to show something that was kind of an actual thing. So just a bit of a background. Edgar Snow, I don't know if you know much about him, but he wrote the book Red Star Over China. And what I'll do first is just quickly play a clip on there we go, a video I made recently because it was the 50th anniversary of his passing earlier this year. And then I'll show my show and tell. Hey, how do I play this? Oh, it's on YouTube. Sorry, one sec. Not Kanye. No.
Oh, gosh.
On this day exactly 50 years ago, American journalist Edgar Snow passed away at the age of 66. Unfortunately, he died just a week before then President Richard Nixon made his famous 1972 visit to China and would never get to see the normalization of relations between the two nations. That historic visit was made possible, in part, thanks to Snow's famous 1937 book, Red Star Over China, a book that showed the world for the first time the reality of China's revolution, the Communist Party, and its leader, Mao Zedong. So yeah, basically that was a short video I made earlier this year. And the thing I want to show is actually right here. I found on eBay. Do you remember eBay, Alex?
Yeah, vaguely. No, yeah, I remember.
So basically, because this is kind of like,
sorry, the video is still bigger.
All good. I'll come back. Oh yeah. So since I work in media, telling Chinese stories, and I attended a forum in Yan'an, which is in Shanxi province, which was the old red capital of China during the during the Civil War. To attend a conference on Red Star Over China and Edgar Snow. I actually found an original 1937 version of the first print of the book, which was really awesome, I reckon, since I think this book has so much significance, I reckon, for my job. So when I found this, it's actually quite rare and not easy to find and not cheap either. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool, like a actual thing to show you guys. Obviously, I won't dare read this. I don't think it's been read before. It was given to somebody as a gift. I'll show you really carefully. It says to somebody, I can't really read it, and blah, 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 right. 1938 or 39. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Well, 37, so it's 85 years old, so that's definitely a relic.
Yeah, and you can tell just by the quality of it that the person who it was gifted to hasn't actually read it. So I just keep this hidden away. I'll just show you the corner again because I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So yeah, this book is quite significant, I reckon, especially today where the Chinese government is really placing a lot of emphasis on foreigners who, I mean, today they call people who support China Wu Mao or Shil or whatever. But it's important to know that actually there's been foreigners in China telling Chinese stories to the world for a long time. So that was 80. How many years ago did you say? 85 years ago.
85,
when he went. Yeah, where he went into Yan'an behind the KMT lines into Red territory, which was his reports from there, and his book here are based on staying there for a short time, a few weeks, and it was actually the first time we had first-hand reports. Well, I wasn't alive then, but the West had first-hand reports from behind in Red China for 9 years. So very significant book. If you get a chance, do read it. But yeah, that's my show and tell for today.
1937, definitely a wild time. Obviously, Civil War going on, and then the Japanese invasion happened that year as well. And so definitely would be a crazy time to be anybody in China. But I mean, if you're somebody from another country experiencing that, that must have been a really wild and dangerous experience for him.
Oh, for sure. I'll bring up some footage actually from my video because it's an interesting, definitely an interesting time. And actually, two parts of China that were in, the Civil War, we had the KMT and the communists actually came together a little bit to battle the Japanese invasion that was going on. There was obviously very terrifying. And as I've mentioned on a stream recently, Sihang Sanku is next door to my house, which is also a strategic location in terms of that, the Battle of Shanghai and the invasion of the Japanese. So yeah, if you're interested in reading more about it, do check out that book, Red Star Over China. I could go on, but I probably shouldn't in case people get bored. But I'll just check the comments. Andrea says that's great that you found it. Very special. Yeah, it is awesome. Not cheap. Travel with Jean in China said, after watching that video, I discovered that I had this book in my must-read list. Awesome. I really do recommend checking it out. And Joel Alberto said 1972, that was also when Andy's nation of New Zealand established formal diplomatic relationships with the PRC. That is true. And later on this year, I will be putting together a video to celebrate those relations, 50 years, good times. But yeah, anyway, let's turn that off. I don't want to see, I don't want to see any more of that video. But yeah, Alex, it's going to be your turn tomorrow. I reckon we just do one a day, one show and television.
All right. Sounds good.
So maybe you can try and download that. What is it? NBA,
yeah, the NBA thing. Yeah, maybe I'll see if I can do that, or if there's anything else that I see out there in the ether between now and then. We'll see. We'll try and figure it out by tomorrow.
Yeah, you've got a few hours yet, and if you can't find anything, I'm sure we can play those sports videos and just have a chat about that. Yeah. But yeah, that's all we have time for today, Alex. Anything else you want to chuck in?
That's all I got. Let's hope, obviously, tomorrow that we have continued news in terms of fewer cases, and then also about more freedoms in terms of getting out there and not just getting outside, but not just getting outside for 2 hours, 2 times a week, but actually getting out there and being able to start to feel like we're living our lives as normal again. So I know it's going to be baby steps, and I want to make sure that everyone else understands that. I have seen a few things floating out there. Life to resume as normal by June. I don't mean to put a damper on that too hard, but I think that I hope that's true. But let's just play it by ear and take it day by day. And good luck to everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, very good advice there, Alex. And have a good evening to you and to everyone else. And see you again tomorrow, you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.